Wow, Jackie, we made it. The biggest week of the year for Not For Long Media. All the podcasts involved with us. It's Super Bowl week. It's a big week. You're busy as hell. We're going to get into what you're doing here, but everything here at the Colin Thompson Show is brought to you by Not For Long Media and our friends over at the Original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. Hey, listen, if the birds win, send somebody some fudge. If the birds lose, send somebody some fudge. They're going to need it. So, again, fudge and sweet treats, the best, the creamiest. It's just Philly. It's just Jersey Shore. It's just tradition with the saltwater taffy and all of their sweet treats, shipping them across the country. Check them out, fudgekitchens.com. Guys, going to a game, going to the Super Bowl, no better place to buy your tickets than SeatGeek. Promo code Colin Thompson, COLINTHOMPSON for $20 off any ticket over $50 or more. What are the Super Bowl tickets going for right now, Jackie? What's the latest update?
I have heard 6,000, and it's about like what face value, or not face value got. That's like what the resale value is for. And I've heard from some people that I know that are going to the game that had the opportunity for face value. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's only $2,000 for nosebleeds." Was what
That's
they
not
got.
bad, though.
No, that was face value, and it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not bad. But it's just crazy. We're at the point of saying that something is a fair value for $2,000 for a ticket at face value.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair, though. It's the biggest game of the year. It's the number one event
Yeah.
in the world. It's the number one event. It's the number one event in the world other than like World Cup, right? Or Champions League championship over in, more than England now, all over Europe. So yeah, no, I digress. There's lots to discuss, Jack. But we got Jason Myrtestus joining the show today. Jason he's at Flyers practice now right now, coming to you live. I wanted to get some of our Not For Long Media folks on the show, just giving some ideas, some personalities, mixing up a little bit. Jason Myrtestus has the OGs podcast with Harry Mays, so he's going to be coming live from the Bond with the bag, ready to go for some hockey talk. And then Rasheed Bailey is going to be joining us here because he's the best. He's opinions. He's rocks and rolls. He's so good. He's going to be joining us here at Not For Long Media. More details will come with that down the line. But he was at the championship game there last week, so I want to hear what he had to say, the vibe, the mood, the atmosphere. Rasheed is the absolute best. Jack, there's lots to discuss. But talk about your week this week and how crazy it's been with the Ross Tucker Show. Ross is the best, the biggest. He does such a great job. He's so coveted because he's just so easy to relate to. He can talk football at a higher level, his food, his fun. What's your week been like doing stuff with Ross?
Now, I'm not somebody that really likes to pat myself on the back or brag about anything. I think I am the only person in America who is juggling both college classes as a college student and then also having to deal with Media Row at the same time. If there's others, I'm more than glad to say I'm wrong, but I don't know anybody else who is. And it has been truly chaotic, but I wouldn't trade it for anything else. So yeah, DraftKings has an incredible setup at Media Row for all of their shows. That includes the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. And Ross has been coming live from Media Row from their setup for the start of this week. Today was our last day, Monday through Wednesday. So we had a bunch of episodes there. It's just a really cool look, bunch of professional cameras, stage, lighting, the whole 9 yards. They did a tremendous job with that. So that has been what my week has been so far outside of my lovely work here at Not For Long Media.
Oh, wow. Lovely work, Jack. Wow. Wow. It's tremendous. Yeah. You've been killing it. I mean, listen, you do so many different things, guys, people call about plucking Jack away and hiring the guy all the time. He's an absolute monster. And we're just so fortunate to have him here and our awesome team and Not For Long Media with 5, 6 shows, 7 shows in the making. It's chaos here. None of us are together. None of us are in the same room. None of us are even in the same town. So other than Jack and Mick, probably you're in the same county. There you go. Not even the same town, in the same county. So yeah, it's unique what we do here, but it's a lot of fun and it creates a really crazy environment. Jack, as you know, Som Sleep's the best sleep drink on the market. Get Som Sleep. Unbelievable. I left mine at the house. I should have shipped it to Key West. I'm kind of bummed. I sleep amazing on it. I rise and just kick ass the next day. There's nothing better than Som Sleep. Promo code Colin for Jason's joining us here. I love it. Right from the barn. He's just coming to you live. There he is. A great Jason Myrtestus.
Say hi to Louis DeBrusque. Say hi to Louis DeBrusque.
What's up, guys?
Louis DeBrusque coming to you live on the podcast. Look at that. What other media company is coming to you live from Key West, Montgomery County, and then from the barn with Louis DeBrusque? I don't know if there is one. as Jason's popping in and out here. We'll wait for him.
Total
It's all good.
coverage.
Total coverage. Total coverage. Jason, we'll jump right into it. You've been covering sports, music, tons for the city for so long. You know the heartbeat of the fans, the feeling. What's the feeling amongst the Flyers team? What's the feeling amongst the whole city that, throughout your travels working?
And there's a buzz right now. I said this on Monday at the Flyers game that it was a Monday night Flyers game and people were getting after it, like double fisting 24-ounce beers. And I'm like, this is weird, but it's Super Bowl week. So like everybody's ready to get after it this week. I think the Philly fans are in an uncomfortable spot, Colin, because they feel like their team is in a good place. And like we're comfortable in the skin of underdog. You know what I mean? Like no one likes us. We don't care. They think we're going to lose. They think we stink. And this role of kind of being a favorite / the team that should win and had the better regular season is a place that Eagle fans are a little, and Philly sports fans, I think, may be a little uncomfortable with.
It's a really great point, and not a lot of people are talking about that. We had the Sam Boner show on earlier with all our Sam Boner crazy guys, and like they're nervous to give their predictions because they're like, well, I think they're going to win by 2 scores. Like they're just not comfortable with it. And I was telling them,
you don't want to verbalize it
because
yeah.
No, you're right. What I tell them is this: trust your eyes. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to this. You've been a fan long enough. Trust what your eyes say. But again, you've been doing this a really long time. What do your eyes say about this Eagles team?
I mean, they're the best team in the NFL. They're so good on both lines that it's so hard to deal with them because there's holes in a dam and you're trying to plug the dam, but you're running out of fingers. Because if you go, okay, I'm going to put my fingers here and plug this hole against the Eagles, well, they got another option. I mean, the fact that in 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 by Miles Sanders in that game, 1 by Boston Scott, like you go, geez, like I got to deal with that now. I got to deal with Jason Kelsey chucking dudes still. I mean, he's unbelievable. Lane Johnson, like the numbers when Lane's in and when Lane's not in, they're ridiculous. Jordan Mailata getting out on the outside. I saw the Baldy's breakdown. Baldy showing him Mailata laying on him and breathing on him and telling him we're going to be here all day. Like this team's got a lot of grunt to it too, a lot of grime. So, and I think the big key, Colin, too, is that they've got guys that were in a Super Bowl. So they're not going to let the whole team play the Super Bowl before the game happens.
That's a really great point. It's a great point. It's like a good hockey team, right? Like you need the guys that have been there and done it. They'll go get a guy to trade deadline, even if they haven't, who's just okay, just to be in the locker room. It's so pivotal. There's so many things to discuss with this team. I think you bring up a great point. Who are you going to cover? Because on the offensive side of the ball, their offensive line's great. The run game's great. And they spread people out. They run a really simple college, very system that Jalen's comfortable with. They're not under center, old school like the Niners. They're spreading teams out. If you're going to load the box and stop the run, you're going to have to guard our receivers one-on-one. It's a very kind of basketball formula. But I want to hear your formula for the game, like for the Eagles. Like, how do you see it going? What's your final score?
I look at it and I go, the formula to win here is to continue to run the ball because you keep Mahomes off the field. Mitigating the Mahomes factor. I know his ankle feels better, but I mean, frankly, he's one of very few guys in pro sports now that you can apply the S word to. Scary. Like they're scary good. Like I'm here at Flyers practice. They're going to see McDavid tomorrow night. I was just talking to Louis DeBrusque about him, who, as an analyst for the Oilers, I'm like, that guy can step on the ice and he scares you. He can beat you by just being there. Mahomes is the same thing. So I got to mitigate the amount of time that he's on the field and that he can scare me and hurt me. So running the ball, I think, is key. But then, like you said, once they key in on the run, I got to be able to work in, A.J. Brown, and I got to be able to work in Devontae and let Jalen Hurts, finish this thing with the season, with this magical year that he had. I got to get him out in space and let him create. And if you can do those things with this offensive line, which I believe they can, then I think they're in a great position. And then when Mahomes is on the field, you got to be able to pressure him up the middle, and they've been able to do that. The addition of guys like Sue and obviously you look at Hassan Reddick on the outside, who's just been unreal how good he's been. So I think if you can do that without having to throw the house at Mahomes, then you're just going to be in a good situation. I know a lot of people are predicting this might be a blowout, but I don't think it's that. I think it's about a 6-point game. I think you're looking at like a 30. I'm going to give you a weird score too, like a 34-28. Some kind of weird missed 2-point conversion gets you to 34 or something. I don't know, but I'm going to give you a 34-28 Eagle win and grease up the polls.
Wow.
I don't think that's too weird of a score, though. I mean, do you think 2 field goals on top of 4 touchdowns, 34? It's not too wild of a.
It's one of those numbers you don't see very often.
That's good math out of you. Quickly, Jack. As we wrap things up here with Jason,
You're my accountant, Jack.
I hope he is. He needs to be ours here. We don't pay him enough for that. God bless him. As we wrap things up, I'm thinking out loud here. Oh, it would the Edmonton Oilers equal the Kansas City Chiefs, and then would the Philadelphia Eagles equal?
Not the Flyers.
Well, of course not. Do they equal Tampa Bay Lightning last couple of years of how they build the core players, the kind of the stalwarts of certain positions? What do you think?
Yeah, Kucherov is Mahomes or Vasilevsky's Mahomes.
No.
Yeah,
I said this. Eagles are Lightning. Depth, stars, Hall of Famers, and then I would say Kansas City. I'm not saying that they have really great players. So Edmonton's got some high-end talent. I don't know what they would be. Would they be the Avs?
Maybe Toronto, the high-end weaponry, but not the right amount of people to ultimately win it all.
But they have won it all, so it's tough. So I think probably a Super Bowl, probably a Stanley Cup winning Toronto team, which they could this year. They're having a nice year.
1967.
It's tough. And I don't want to disrespect the Chiefs because they are really good and they've been doing it for a long time.
Like the Andy Reid factor is a big one too. I mean, you've never had a Super Bowl where you've had the 2 coaches that are going head to head have each been fired by the team that they're facing. Sirianni was fired in Kansas City. Reid was fired here a decade ago. So you got that part of the equation too.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm going to go this. I'm going to go Caps Stanley Cup team is Kansas City. And then I'm going to go Lightning best Stanley Cup team is the Eagles.
Okay. I'm in. I like that.
That's good.
OV is Mahomes.
Backstrom, Kelsey.
Yeah, I could buy that. John Carlson is. Yeah, I can get in on
Chris
that.
Jones. He's like Chris Jones, the all-pro defensive guy.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jason, what's the schedule for you the rest of this week here? Because I know you got Flyers and you got all this stuff going on.
Ooh, Edmonton in town tomorrow night. Saturday, it's the Nashville Predators are coming in for a matinee. Sunday, it's Dave Haxtell and the Kraken for a matinee. Then we're going to sit down, get buckled, watch a little Super Bowl, and eat finger foods all day.
Wow. Look at the Flyers. Sunday matinee. I mean, that's a good day for a Phillies fan. For a Phillies fan, go to a game.
A couple bowls of loudmouth soup at the barn. You'll be good to go. Start off right.
The great Jason Myrtestus. Thanks for coming on, man. You're the best. Check him out.
Boy, enjoy the game this weekend.
All right. Check him out, everybody. The great Jason Myrtestus, Geez podcast. Great guy, mentor, friend. How good was that, Jack? That's a different. I wanted something different. I don't want to get some big player on. And we've been blessed. We have great guests. I just wanted something different, chill. We don't want to compete with the Ross Tucker show. We want to compete kind of in our avenue. You know, Jack? You're a who's who this week at the show. Who's been on your show this week, the Ross show?
So we have had Fran Duffy was one, the Eagles kind of podcast film breakdown guy. Carrington Harrison was another. He's a Kansas City Chiefs radio guy. He's really, really smart. Brett Coleman was another that we had recorded for this week. Dr. David Chow, football injury, kind of pretty much the go-to guy on Twitter when a football injury occurs. I mean, he's almost dead on always with his analysis, like a 99% hit at diagnosing just from Twitter videos, which is incredible. So those are some of the few guys that we'll have. And then there's some that I'll come out that I don't want to spoil through the rest of the week. Some players that are involved in Super Bowl 57 and some others as well.
Wow. In-depth knowledge. Jackie, do want to give it to you folks. Listen on the other line. I appreciate everybody listening as always, man. We have a blast. Rasheed Bailey is going to be joining us here in a little bit. He's getting back from training. But before that, guys, I want to talk about our friends over at Actions Over Words, apparel.com, Actions Over Words. Just awesome people down there in Cape May, just rocking it. Great, great product. Donating money back to the charity of their choice by what they sell. They're putting their actions over their words. Excuse me there, folks. I appreciate that. But again, love what we got going on in actions over words. Okay, Jackie boy. The bar of the week this week on the Thompson Show, brought to you by the Original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country, is Conch Republic in Key West, Florida. Listen, this place is iconic down here. It's the first bar you're going to hit when you're walking past Sloppy Joe's, heading to kind of the marina area with all the great bars on there with Schooner, Galleon, Half Shell, Boathouse. It's the coolest part of town for me. The best happy hour. Listen, the best happy hour in town, in my opinion, one of them at least, is Conch Republic. Just everyone's buy one, get one free beers, buy one, get one free domestics and imported beers. They have great seafood, great eats. They back the boat up. You see the yellowtail snapper coming right in the restaurant that they're about to cook and make for you. Go and get the Royal Red Shrimp. If you ever go down there, they're amazing. It's a secret menu item. Amazing. Check them out. The Conch Republic, great spot. Bartenders, awesome. Beers on ice, awesome. You know, it's in just a killer spot in town. You cannot beat it. So again, my ratings, Conch Republic, bar of the week this week, beer, 5 out of 5. It's on ice. Can't be colder. Food and ambiance, 5 out of 5. I mean, you can't beat the fresh seafood. You can't beat right on the harbor. All the boats are coming in from fishing days. You can see all the, fish being filleted. It's the best. 5 out of 5 there. TVs, 3 out of 5. They're not big TVs, but they're there. They're visible, and they have a really cool setup. Huge fish tank, like just really cool. And then, of course, the service is great, 5 out of 5. So 18 to 20 for the Conch Republic, the bar of the week this week on the Colin Thompson Show. All right, Jackie, some matchups. And I'll let you brew on one because, of course, I didn't prep you for the show per usual, but I have a bunch. So you got time here. I'm going to rip through these. You got time to think through something, Jack. And if you don't, hey, it is what it is. I talked about last week, I think Steve Spagnuolo trying to win for Kansas City's huge because he spent some time at the Jersey Shore. I think that's always a big thing, a social thing that people don't understand. Obviously, the storyline between, Nick Sirianni and Andy Reid and all that stuff that Jason was talking to is always a big thing. But for me, it's how the Eagles are going to handle Chris Jones. How's the offensive line and the protection and the scheme? How are they going to handle Chris Jones? Setting the protection to him? Are they going to set it, to 4 on the other side? Are they going to set it to a linebacker that could be a blitzing guy? How's that going to go? Because Chris is one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best. He's absolutely dominant. Brother of Chandler Jones. So there's a lot to digest there of how they're going to set the protection, something to keep an eye on earlier for a fan, noticing on third down what they're doing with Chris, because he's that good. In the run game, he's that good. He's right on that level with Aaron Donald, in my opinion, of dominance. He's a bigger than Aaron, but they're both really dominant players. Another matchup I'm looking at this week, Travis Kelce versus DC John Gannon. How's he going to handle Travis? Is he going to roll his safety down on him? Are they going to pull the old, double team situation? And again, how's Andy going to set Kelce up? Because if Kelce is going to line up at wide out, you can't really, it's a different format. If he's in the tight end spot and moving around, they can jam him. They can hit him. They can slow him down. The DNs will work a butch technique where the DN looks like he's rushing up the field and here's the tight end right next to him, and they'll just hit the crap out of the tight end and really disrupt the route timing and the pace, and that screws up the whole concept. So it's going to be really interesting to see, again, early on, how are they going to handle it, third down, first down, and then what's Andy going to do to get him open and do different things. So there's a lot of really fun stuff there. That's what I'm going to be looking at. The next thing I'm looking at here for the matchups on the Colin Thompson Show, brought to you by Not For Long Media. Last week when Eagles fans are watching the game, and it's all over social media, it's the Eagles O-line just double teaming these guys on the zone read game and just knocking the heck out of them. Chip Kelly kind of created this zone read game, guys, years and years ago. And really what you're doing is you're putting double teams at the point of attack, and you're going to not block the end man on the line of scrimmage, and the quarterback can read him on a pull situation. Is he going to pull the ball and run it? Is he going to pull the ball and throw it? Right? Everyone hears RPOs, all those different things. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that shakes out, because these double teams up front, like, are they going to be running linebackers through? So if you have a double team going on, folks at home, and they may say, hey, listen, we're going to get out of the double team as quick as we can. So there's not a lot of drive off the ball. They may rock the D lineman and then bring the linebacker. And because the O-line's got to come off the block if the linebacker's going to shoot the hole. So I would watch early on and expect those linebackers to be playing up and trying to knock teams off the double teams, because that's what people did to us in Carolina to stop what we had going on, because our double teams were nasty in Carolina when we were running the ball. And everyone saw it again last week. Like, if you watch, everyone's watching Jason Kelsey, dance in the end zone. But it's like, did you see him? And like, I think it was Semalalo, like, pick the guy up and dump him on his back. Like that's what the note is. Like, that's why sometimes I get a little nuts with the media. It's like, it's not him dancing. It's him dumping the guy on his back. But I get it. I digress. And as I continue to ramble on here, Philly versus Kansas City. It's the fans. It's the vibe. It's the atmosphere. It has nothing to do with the game. Maybe it will. Maybe there's enough people there from one team where it's going to be loud. But they're both really passionate fan bases. They're both places that both fan bases love to travel to. I know a lot of Philly people that travel to Kansas City. I know a lot of Kansas City fans that put on green and go to a Kansas City game in Philly because they love going there too. Both great cities, things to do, both unique. So what's that matchup like? It's going to be fun. So that's what I kind of hammered down. Jack, in your 5 minutes here of me rambling, what'd you prep for?
I kind of came up last week. I talked about Nick Bolton. And obviously, that how key of a matchup he'll be and how much he has surprised me these past season and two. I'm going to talk about somebody we've had on the show before. I think he was before my time, a little bit before me. Mike Burton. I think fullbacks have become very important. Have you seen with Kyle Juszczyk in San Francisco? I think having that fullback to help in just a variety of ways, like how versatile even Mike Burton is, just in the pass game, kind of even as a pass protection, kind of be in the backfield as another passing guy. If the Eagles send a blitz and they kind of help with Mahomes' limited mobility with his ankle injury, then even though it'll be a few weeks removed, will still be bothering him a little bit. So I think having him in pass protection, kind of sneaking him out, letting him leak out as sort of a pass dump to get a few extra yards there if all of your other routes fail, or even your design play is getting it to Mike Burton. I think that's a lot of options that he can provide there. And usually fullbacks are an afterthought in this day's NFL, but they still provide a lot of value. And you can see a lot of the best teams still heavily utilize a fullback. I mean, I literally just talked about Kansas City, Baltimore. I mean, there's just countless examples of other teams I'm not even thinking off the top of my head that utilize a fullback.
Niners.
I talked about Juszczyk before, so he might slip my mind when I said it, but
Okay,
Baltimore,
sorry.
San Francisco, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that's my little ramble about why Mike Burton could be a key factor in the Super Bowl.
Mike Burton, he's one of our biggest, I think he still is our biggest show of all time. I made all the kids I coach in high school listen to it because he's the most disciplined athlete I've ever played with. Christian's number 2, that guy's number 1. I mean, he is unbelievably disciplined, driven. I mean, everybody's driven, but like what he sacrifices to make it. Now Christian's up there too. It's not a slight at Christian, but like this guy, Mike, is different bird. The way he eats and how he does things. Like, he's not eating just like a burger. It's got to be turkey and like no bread. Like everything's a dialed in meal. He hasn't had a cheat meal in years. Like, there's no like breakfast sandwich. There's no like cheesesteak. There's no alcohol. Like, he is completely dialed. I'm dialed sometimes, Jack. Other times, it's not for me. It's not for me. As we keep things rolling on here, again, everything is brought to you by the original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. All right, Jack, I want to hear your prediction for the Super Bowl. What are you feeling, buddy? The heat is on.
I don't know. We were talking about this following the Sam Boner show, and I kind of said the same thing that I'll say now. I don't know. And because I've seen so many different sides of the coin this last week, which is between Chiefs people, Eagles people, third-party people, just saying different, basically every different angle you can take away from this game. And I don't know. It's tough because at the same time, everybody talks about how loaded the Eagles are. There's the same fact of, well, Mahomes is just a baller. Kelsey is just a baller. And the Eagles defense is stacked. It is a very perfect defense. But if there is one issue that this defense has had over the last several years, and it's very much a non-issue compared to previous years, it is their linebacker coverage. And it just so happens that obviously the Chiefs' best weapon, I don't even know if you really can consider him technically a tight end, which is how much of a threat he is on the outside, is Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce can kill teams over the middle. And it doesn't help when your worst part of your very great defense is the perfect matchup for the offense. So, I mean, Kelce could have a career day. He literally had 16 receptions in the AFC Championship, somewhere along those lines.
He's going to get his, right? He's really going to get his. Just depending on how they're going to handle it. They're going to put a safety on him. And then if they have an extra safety and they go like a dime situation, like do they have the guys that can come up and, play him and then also stop the run game? Like everyone's like pass. But like to me, if Kansas City can run the football, watch out. Like that's to me is a concern, not who's going to guard them, because no one ever guards them, right? Yeah. They never guard them. So, and Andy's going to set up situations for motions and shifts and all these different things where he's out. They have to remove the guy from the box to guard him. He's a wide out. He really is. He's that dynamic of a wide receiver. That doesn't take away that he's not a true tight end.
But even then, like my thing is sort of, even if you bring down a safety, you bring down Epps or somebody, and he's manned up on Kelce, or if they bracket him with a linebacker in zone and then the safety on top of him, it also leaves the point of the Chiefs, as much as they're not as dominant as they have been in years past with Tyreek Hill and Hardman, who's now in IR, they're still speedy. They can take the top off your defense. Or your,
no doubt about it.
And it's
you're great. It's an interesting thing that they decided to do, because they traded Tyreek Hill, right? They made that decision where they said, okay, he's one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL, which is really hard to do. We're not going to pay him and salary cap strangle us, because you're already paying Mahomes, the highest paid guy in the league. We're going to trade him and get a huge draft capital back, massive, and then also have a little bit of money to sign guys. So they have a different team this year. And that's what I was talking about with Jason. It's like they have depth. They have maybe not the high-end skill like the Tampa Bay Lightning I was talking about, where they're just loaded, or like the Eagles where they have like A.J. Brown and Smith, and then like Lane Johnson and Mailata and Travis Kelce, and like that's just on the offense, or Jason Kelce. And then defensively, it's like Son Reddick, Bradbury, Slay, the guys inside, right? Joseph, Sue, right? So it's like this high-end talent, which can win games with a quarterback that's right in the tier below Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, which is an elite tier. Patrick is unbelievable. Like I talked about here before, it's just a matchup of how this is going to work out. But to me, whoever runs the ball the best wins the football game. I really, truly feel that. I truly feel that, because that dictates how the game's going to go. Like you saw when the Eagles were running the ball against a really good defense in the Niners. Really good. The game was done. The game was done because of how they ran the ball, not because of the other things. Yes, of course, injuries and all that. That stunk. I wanted to see it. But, at the end of the day, it's interesting to see how it's all going to shake out, because there's a lot to talk about. So it was funny. I was talking to everybody on the Sam Boner show about how electric it's been down here with the Eagles fans, like chaos down here in Key West, Florida, where I'm doing the show for. Like people are dialed in and ready to rip it up and have a great time. I mean, I've already heard 6 Eagles chants. I set the over under at 60 before Sunday morning. So, I mean, people are ready to rock and roll for the Birds. Like it's great. It's unique. And I'm a fan of both teams. I am a fan of a lot of teams in the NFL, because I have friends on every team. And I've been lucky to play in the league, or I play with guys in college with, or, I got to meet Andy Reid, which was just unbelievable when Andy took, a minute out of his time to talk to me and all the other Gator football players and equipment manager I was with when I met him one of his last games in Philly. Like I'm an Andy Reid fan and supporter, and I got to meet his wife, and I got to play with Hassan Reddick in Philly. And like, it was tough for me last week to see what happened with the Eagles and the Niners. I'll be honest, because C-Mac, I wanted him to win a Super Bowl. He deserves that Niners team, So like Mike McGlinchey, Dan Brunskill, guys that have been on our show. It's been unique. It's been unique so far. Jack, I'll ask you this as we are waiting for Rasheed Bailey to join. What was the weirdest question that your boy got asked this week, Ross Tucker? Or the weirdest response he had? Because he's the best. He's so great with food. I love his stuff.
I don't know if there's any really weird questions or responses from anything that I've seen, at least. I mean, I'm trying to go off the top of my head. I mean, obviously there was a lot of interesting questions. My favorite is I forget his exact name, but he goes around to all the players in the media. And I didn't find this out till after the fact, since he's been doing this for like a decade. He asked all of them, he's like, is the Super Bowl a must-win game? And it's funny enough because it's been just a long running joke at this point, but I thought that was a funny question just in general. But in terms of Ross, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm kind of blank. It's been very usual for Super Bowl week. Any of the questions, I really can't think of anything that tops out to me. I'm failing here. I'm failing you.
It's okay, Jack. Where are you watching the game this week? What are you munching on?
My house. I'm not really doing anything exciting for the Super Bowl. I'm very calm. I think it was Bill Burr who said anybody who actually wants to watch the Super Bowl watches it at home. They don't go out to Super Bowl parties, in my opinion. At least I'm sure I'm be proven wrong whenever you send me whatever you're doing for the Super Bowl or whatever. But I mean, I don't know what we're eating yet. I honestly don't know. Probably be a couple finger foods, like Mick was talking, or Jason, I think was actually said with finger foods, but probably some wings, mozzarella sticks, the very basics for a Super Bowl party. Whatever my parents decide to cook up that I'll grab in between quarters and whatnot, but nothing really too out of the ordinary. I'm keeping it very calm and low key this year.
Well, speaking of calm and low key, a man who's not calm and low key. What is the word? Where are you at, Rasheed Bailey?
Woo, 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 woo. Let's go. Man.
Are you in
Man,
Philly?
I just got back in from my workout. I'm feeling juiced up, gassed up, ready to go.
Ready to go. Rasheed Bailey. We got a few minutes. I need to hear about how the championship game was, and then we're going to talk about prediction. How was the championship game, man?
Yo, as a kid, I'm just strictly talking about from being a fan. That place was booming. It was booming in there, man. The experience, everything. Like, I was in there having a great time. You know, I had just flew in from Miami. I'm talking like in the morning, like right from the plane straight to the game. And from the time I got there to the time the game ended, the place was rocking, bro. I mean, I can't really explain the goosebumps and the chills that I got, you know what I'm saying, just by being in the building, being in the flesh of all that energy. It was top notch, man.
That's awesome, man. I absolutely love it. Now, what time did you go to bed in Miami and then get on the flight the next day?
I didn't sleep, yo. I did not sleep. I can honestly say I was with Alex Armour at a club in Miami, flew. The only thing that saved me, hopefully we can get sponsored, was Wawa. I got a 16-ounce Wawa coffee. I sat in my car for about 40 minutes, went to Wawa, drank the coffee, and I stayed up the whole day. It was crazy, man. I was gassed up, juiced up, man. It was definitely a great time, bro.
Shout out to Wawa for gassing up and supplying. It's a free ad right here, supplying Rasheed Bailey through rough times and feelings for another high and the adrenaline. The nice thing, you're at a game, though. Like I always say, people, you play in Seattle, you don't need to bring any juice. It's brought
No,
for
you don't.
right?
No,
you just
you don't.
show up. Sometimes
You
in
just really
Carolina,
show up.
like it's kind of quiet there. Like it's different. It's a lot of Clemson fans, the South Carolina fans, and they love the football. Don't get me wrong, but like everybody's from, Carolina. People lived in Charlotte way before the Panthers got there. Panthers only like 25 years old, so it's a unique fan base. I love the fans, but it was just a different vibe than what I was used to in Philly.
Yeah.
Okay, Sheed, we're wrapping the show up in here a little bit. I need your prediction for the Super Bowl.
Here we go, man. I say this, man. If they come out and play how they played last week, nasty up front, run the ball well, manage the clock, the big-time players come to show up and make big-time plays, yo, man, I'm going to see a lot of people that I know on Broad Street. It's going to get pretty interesting. So
You got a final score?
Huh?
Final score?
I don't have a final score, but I will say this, man. I can see them winning by. It's going to be a tight game, man. It's going to come down to the wire. I really believe that. Patty Mahomes and what he can do. He's a magician. I just really think that it's going to come down to the wire, and we're going to get everything that we asked for from this game. I'm going to be there. Hopefully, I'm excited, bro. I'm excited for the energy. I'm excited for the atmosphere. It's going to be my first Super Bowl weekend. I'm going to be a kid all weekend, man, just taking it all in and enjoying every second of it.
Super Bowls are amazing. I'll never forget when I went to my one and only. It was in Dallas, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. I remember coming up the steps right before the game because we went in the wrong security line. It was like 4 hours. Crazy. I was pissed. We were pissed. But we still made it for kickoff. I remember coming up the steps, up in the nosebleeds, and like the wind hitting your face. And
Yeah.
like, I just started crying. Like I was a senior in high school, and I'm like, man, this is what I want. This is what I have to do. Like I'm gonna do whatever I can to get here. Like just emotional, genuine. Like I was just like, oh my God. Like the lights, the flashes of the cameras, like Super Bowl show. Like it's just like I was on here with Jack earlier talking about like face value and like how crazy it is. But I don't think $2,000, if you can get him, you're not going to get him for $2,000. But if you could at the time, it's really nothing. It's the number one show in the world other than like a World Cup, maybe Olympics.
I'm still trying to make it make sense that I'm going. I can't even really, shout out to my dog Tori. I can't. It doesn't feel real. Like I really fly out tomorrow, and I'm hearing about like some of the events that I'm going to be able to attend, and whoo, man, I'm gassed up, man. I can't, but like it's just, Super Bowl it's like one of those dream come true type moments, man. Whether you're in it, a part of it, watching it, I think it's the most beautiful event, known to man, like the commercials, everything about it, like you just said, like the cameras, the lights, Rihanna. I mean, come on now. It's going to get pretty interesting down there in Arizona. Well, not down there, but over there in Arizona.
You got the Waste Management Open going on. Oh boy. Where are you staying down there? You know where you're staying at? Are you staying near the stadium?
I'm not even sure, man. I just got a ticket to go down there. I don't even have a ticket to fly back. I'm in it. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know where I'm staying at. I know I'm staying with my dog Tori, but I don't know which hotel it is or where it's going to be at. I just know I'm going to be in the mix.
I love it. You're dialed in. That's why we had you on. I just want to have you on quick today, doing quick hitters on the show. The great Rasheed Bailey. Appreciate you coming on, brother.
Before can we talk about how Rasheed finally tried out another place to Sambone this week?
Oh my God. Please, all right, listen. Shout out to all of the guys. All the videos, Sambone, Colin. I mean, I went down there. I didn't even call. I didn't order. I just straight went. I wanted the whole experience. I walked in there. It's smoky. They telling me they only accept cash. They don't sell French fries. I said, this is a real cheesesteak place, man. I get in there. I'm trying to create some conversation. Trying to, tell them that I've been waiting to come try this place. Man, I didn't even wait till I got home. I got in the car. I opened that thing up, man. I probably had about 10 to 15 to 20 messages in my Instagram DMs saying, I got to go try that place, man. I mean, shout out to them down there, man. I've been saying I'm only going to stick to one cheesesteak place, and that's D'Alessandro's. But this place right here, Angelo's, man, it is now on my list, and I will always tell people about that place because the bread, the quality, I mean, everything about it was, you guys didn't lie about it, and I'm glad I went to go try.
There is nothing like it in the world. My new rating is that's a 10. You skip 4 spots, and then I think John's Roast Pork is right there. But
no, yeah, shout out to you, man, because you're the reason why I went.
Oh, thank you. I feel honored. But
I had no idea about this place, yo. I had no idea.
It's the best food it's the best sandwich I've ever had, period. Probably top 5 food I've ever eaten. I mean, it's just dumb good.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's definitely a Philly joint right there. That's the spot. Like I would definitely tell people about that spot first before I say D'Alessandro's. Don't get me wrong, D'Alessandro's is really good, but that place just has a different kind of energy that I really do like.
Just like you, different kind of energy.
You feel me, bro? Like
built different.
Built different, man. I'm in the we don't have to talk about this on camera, but I'm definitely in a contract talk right now. It's been a crazy last few days, man, and I'm glad that I got a chance to come on here to get some of this energy out, man. Some positive flowing energy because there's a lot going on right now.
Damn right there is. Damn right. The great Rasheed Bailey. Safe travels, brother. Send some videos. Have some fun out there, bud.
All right, big dog. I appreciate y'all boys for having me.
Thank you, buddy. There he is, everybody. The great Rasheed Bailey. What a stud. What a great dude. Lucky to call him a friend. And just the man. He's gonna have a blast down there at the game. Jackie, that wraps things up, man. What a great show today. Some fun, some different stuff. We got a hockey guy on here talking football. We got a football guy on here going to the game. We got the great Jack in the back, Jack O'Connell, pressing all the right buttons. The man.
Barely. I've done some of the buttons today. You've done some of them. I'm losing my producer title as we speak by every passing day.
This is not for long media. We're a team. You know, we just throw everything at the kitchen sink at it and figure it out later. That's what we do. That's what we do, Jackie boy. All right, guys, enjoy the game. Have some fun. Send some videos of you eating food and samboning and tearing it up, hanging with family, friends. That's what the Super Bowl is about. Please do not drink and drive. Be safe, Uber, and just have a great weekend. Guys, thank you to our friends over at the Original Fudge Kitchen. I'm Colin Thompson. That's Jack Connel. Thanks to Rasheed and Jason for joining the show. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see what happens. No prediction out of me. For the fans, trust what you see. Don't listen to ESPN. Listen to all this other stuff. See what your eyes tell you. Make a prediction from there. Have a good one, guys.